Listen, these numbers are shocking. The British public will see that as a second record-breaking number there of the 75 years that modern records have begun. This is unsustainable, surely, isn't it, Ivon?
Well, let's just start with the facts. Look, it's undeniable that the UK has experienced a population growth. I accept that. But to blame it squarely and solely on immigration is misleading. You have to remember
you have to explain that one to me, Ivon. Go on.
Well, because you ignore the complex interwoven drivers of demographic change. For example, we have an aging native population. They're aging. We have increased longevity and the economic need for skilled and unskilled workers alike. Migration is not some abstract threat. It's a lifeline to our NHS, care homes, construction sites, and university. Our economy wouldn't function without it. So it's all very well saying,
Ivon, with all due respect, the things you're saying here, I think many people will raise their eyebrows at them because, quite frankly, house prices are through the roof. Young people can't get onto the ladder. We're talking about an NHS waiting list through the roof. We haven't built homes. We haven't built hospitals. People can't get doctor's appointments for 2 weeks. I remember days when you get them the same day. This is unsustainable. Food inflation through the roof as a result of more people eating food and not having more imports into the country. This country is at its breaking point. And we're also, me and Adam were talking about this sort of people coming in and ghettoising into a cultural bubble where they are low-paid, a lot of them low-paid migrants coming here, where they're shoved into areas where there's only people of their culture. So therefore, there's a big powder keg of issues waiting to happen here, Ivon. We can't just say that immigration is great when we know GDP per capita hasn't got any better for 10 years. This is nonsense.
I've been hearing this bluster for years from presenters like you.
Well, give me the facts then. Tell me why I'm wrong about any of that. Take one of them.
We don't have a migration problem. Okay?
Ivon,
what we have... Well, if you let me finish, you've asked me to give a balanced approach. You've got one view, and I've been asked to give a counter view to that, okay, which I'm trying to do. So what we have is a governance problem. You see, this government and the previous government had their tactic is always blame someone. I remember when I was a teenager, we used to blame single mothers for the problems in our finances. And now the people we're blaming is migrants. Look, the fact is that migrants bring, what this article fails to draw upon is the benefits that net migration brings. It also, the article doesn't distinguish between legal and illegal migration. Look, if you're going to label people fleeing persecution, genuinely fleeing tyranny, and label them as a problem, demonizing them, it's not only just morally indefensible, but also legally inaccurate. You remember, we're duty-bound by international law to protect those in need. That's our legal obligation.
Okay.
Using the internet without a VPN, a virtual private network, is a bit like taking to the road without car insurance. All it takes is one unlucky moment to cost you a lot of cash. This video's sponsor is Private Internet Access. They are the VPN to help keep you safe. Click the link in the description below to find out why over 30 million people have downloaded PIA to protect themselves online. A virtual private network is an app that hides your IP address and helps keep your data private. When you're browsing the internet at home, you give up a large amount of data to businesses, to shops, and indeed to social media giants too. Hackers have the ability to steal your personal data with ease, including sensitive information such as passwords, keystrokes, and even your personal photos. Private internet access helps protect your personal data by encrypting your internet connection to keep your data out of the hands of cyber criminals. And it's not just hackers either to be concerned about. Information can be censored too. When Canada passed their C-18 bill, social media giants decided to ban news content on their platforms. But PIA can protect your ability to consume the news and content you love. Private internet access is available for Windows users, Mac OS, Android, Linux, iOS, and you can use one PIA subscription to protect an unlimited amount of devices. And we've got a huge GBNews discount for you too. Click the link in this video's description and you'll get a massive 83% off PIA. That's under £2 a month, the price of a coffee, and you'll get an extra 4 months completely free on top. Also, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee too. Visit piavpn.com/GBNews to start protecting yourself digitally today.
Ivon, but you're veering into illegal migration. We're talking about legal migration here. 700,000 people. It's a lot of people. Okay, and you're saying to me that okay, I agree with you. No one's blaming the legal migrants that we've invited into this country. It is a governance issue. But then to say that migration isn't an issue is also wrong, because we're talking about record-breaking numbers here when we're not built any of those things. It's not the migrants that the issue here. It's the politicians that have failed to look at those numbers and go, actually, how on earth can we balance not building any new hospitals, any new prisons, any new schools, any new doctors' surgeries? How can we balance all those things while we're bringing in almost 800,000 mostly low-paid workers into the country, when actually many British people are becoming more and more unemployed? And on some of those, we're talking about a benefits bill of 700,000 people who are also not British citizens. It's unsustainable, Ivon.
Let me tell you about my clients. Okay, so today I was instructed by a British company. They cannot find a resident worker willing to do the job. And remember, since this month, you need to have a degree to come in as a skilled worker. So you're wrong about that. The minimum you need to have now is degree level. So
yes, but that's just come in this year, Ivon. We're talking about stats from 2020 through 2022. So yes, it's only just come into effect, and we're seeing migration drop as a result. We're talking about these historic numbers, and you're conflating the two things.
Let me give you a real-life case. So my client instructed me today, said we cannot find a resident worker. They've had to recruit from a foreign person to do that job. Now, I think it's a long-term solution to this, but we need resident workers doing the jobs that are currently being filled by foreign workers. That's a long-term strategy.
Do you not think on that specific issue there, when we're talking about lack of skills in this country, and we go back to the governance thing, which we don't disagree on because it is the politicians to blame here, but if we're constantly importing people, what is the point in a young person going and getting a degree and then going being put into a low-paid job? And also, when we're flooding the country full of people, they're going to suppress wages. If we can bring people in abroad who are going to earn less than the average Brit, why would the average Brit take a pay cut?
Look, flooding the country, that sort of language, sort of Enoch Powell sort of language, right?
Focus on the statistics. Focus on the statistics. Why would a British person take a pay cut to do a job that a migrant is going to do, a legal migrant is going to do for half?
Well, again, you don't have the right facts. You're confusing legal and illegal migration.
I'm not. I just said legal migrants. Ivon, I think the problem is I don't think you have an argument here. I don't think you have an argument, and you're trying to find these soft left arguments. Oh, we should welcome everyone into the country. We need all these people. When you look at the facts, GDP per capita is down. The NHS's waiting lists are through the roof. House prices are through the roof. We cannot sustain it. We're not building homes. We're not building hospitals. We haven't got enough jobs. I speak to people daily who can't get jobs, even at Tesco's, because we allow that to come under the skilled migrant visas. This is unsustainable, Ivon. I want skilled people to come to this country. I really do. But we are inviting tons of unskilled people into the country and then giving them benefits because they can't survive in the high-priced Britain. And therefore, this is an issue. Give me one good case for migration under any of those stats.
The title of the visas you're talking about is called a skilled worker visa. Skilled worker visa, not an unskilled worker visa. And those are the people that are coming to work in this country.
But Ivon, give me an example of one of those. I read a litany off of skilled worker visas not that long ago. Some of them were trolley pushers.
We don't have enough people to fill these roles. Okay, so that's a problem. What we need is investment in public services. We need building cohesive communities. That's the real test of leadership. What you're trying to do is demonize people that are bringing benefits to this country.
I haven't demonized anybody. My stepfather was a legal migrant into this country, and he's worked his backside off ever since he got here, and he's very welcome here. And most British people, 99% of them, would welcome migrants that are going to work here and add tax to the country and integrate into our society. But we are seeing time and time again that we're now flooding the country with cheap labour, which is suppressing wages, which is we can't build it. We're not building any more hospitals. We're not adding more doctors. We're not adding all these doctors and nurses that you claim that we are. We can't keep. We've got to train people in this country. All these things are just going to continually get worse. And what's going to happen? Those migrants are all going to leave. They've got no loyalty to stay here in Britain. Why would they want to stay somewhere where they could have to live on benefits?
I agree about the training. It's a long-term solution. But look, you want to scapegoat migrants for existing issues like underfunded services, housing shortages.
I'm not scapegoating migrants once here, Ivon. I'm scapegoating the government. The government. I'm blaming the government for these issues, as I have alliterated many times to you.
It's a political cop-out for the government. It's a diversionary tactic this government's using the previous. Look over there. Don't look at what we're doing. Look over there. It's migration is the problem. What you should be focusing on is taking the government to task for underfunded services.